Hello, my name is Jess Adamson. Welcome to the Breakthrough podcast, brought to you by Breakthrough Mental Health Research Foundation, Australia's only dedicated mental health research organisation. In this series, we'll be talking to courageous people who share their personal stories about their lived experience of mental health issues. We'll also be talking to researchers in the field to get an understanding of the how and why of mental illness. Mental illness is going to be the biggest health challenge in our lifetime. It consumes lives, it ruins lives, it takes lives. But it's time the question was answered. Why does it happen? And more importantly, how can we stop it? If you find anything spoken about in today's episode distressing, please contact Mental Health Emergency on 131465. Professor Phillip Slee is a professor in human development in the School of Education at Flinders University. He's a trained teacher and registered psychologist and is also director of the Student Wellbeing and Prevention of Violence Research Centre at Flinders. He created the anti-bullying resource schedule for schools here in South Australia, but also in Malta, Greece and Japan. Phillip's research is the foundation of the Little Breakthrough Heroes campaign, Big Talks for Little People. Well, Professor Slee, welcome to the Breakthrough podcast. You've worked in the area of youth mental health for many years. Can you tell us about this project with Breakthrough and the Little Heroes Foundation?
Yeah, we're really excited to be working with Breakthrough Mental Health Research Foundation and with Chris Mcdermott's Little Heroes Foundation. It really is a new venture, Jess. It's taking us into the world of early prevention and with young people, particularly in the primary school area. So this is a really exciting development aimed at improving the mental health of young people.
What are we seeing? How is the program going to be rolled out?
So what we're doing with the project at the moment, with the support of the Little Heroes Foundation and with the Breakthrough Mental Health Research Foundation, what we're doing is that we've now completed the first elements of the trial. So we've been out and we've interviewed a range of teachers and mental health specialists and people working in the mental health area. We've all about their ideas about what should go into the content of a program like this. This is an intervention program. So we've got, at the moment, we've got 6 lessons that teachers can deliver as part of their normal classroom teaching practice. We have we're working with Monkey Stack, a digital animation group, and they're going to be developing a short 3 to 4 minute animation. And then the final thing that we've got for the teachers are teacher information sheets that convey information to support them in their classroom practice.
So what ages are we talking? How young are these children?
So we're aiming at this stage to use it in from primary school, so from years 4 through to 7, so sort of in that kind of 8 to 12-year age range, Jess.
When you say early intervention, is it about stopping bullying before it really starts to begin?
So what we do understand very clearly in Australia is that if we leave untreated the mental health issues that affect about 14 to 15% of young people, there is a significant social and emotional cost to the families involved and the schools and the community. Over and above that, there's an economic burden that runs into millions of dollars of leaving young people with issues like depression and anxiety, with eating disorders, school bullying. If we leave that untreated, then we as a community will suffer later.
What kinds of tools are you giving to teachers and what messages are you giving to them?
Yeah, so in these COVID-19 times now, we've adjusted the program significantly. So it is based on an earlier project and program that we've run that was an anti-bullying project. This one, though, has the focus just on young people's mental health. So what we're doing is that, as I've mentioned, we've got an animation that's meant to be very engaging for young people so that it will catch their attention and deliver messages about mental health and developing resilience, developing conflict resolution skills, looking at issues like optimism. And we're going to be delivering this on a digital platform in the classroom so that teachers can then access this through a website. They can look at the digital animation with the kids in the classroom And that will be a discussion starter. There'll be elements in that animation that the teachers that will trigger ideas for the teachers to talk about. Okay, so how do we go about solving conflict in the classroom? If there's a bullying incident, what can we do about it? How can we become more resilient and more optimistic when certain things are happening? So the digital animation is intended to set up some discussion. And then what we've got are 6 lessons that run for about 30 to 40 minutes. There is very discrete information in those lessons around topics such as the kind of traumas that we face, how we can become more resilient people, how we can become more optimistic. And there are activities. It's very practical. So the focus is on a very practical component. And a really interesting component that we've been working with the Little Heroes Foundation is developing a buddy bench concept, so that it's not just about what you do in the classroom, but when you're out in the playground and you have around the buddy bench, you see some people sitting there, you can go over and have a chat or a yarn to them about how they're feeling and what they're doing and who their friends are, those kinds of practical things. And so we've got that information in the resource as well.
The buddy bench simply works by checking in on people that are sitting on it in case they've A, lost their friends, which we know easily happens in a big schoolyard, or B, they're feeling a bit fragile. So it's just having that conversation.
It is. You put it really well. It's a conversation where there is an actual physical place, a kind of like a yarning circle, for example, where there's a physical place where kids can go and sit and just have a chat. They can talk about who won the football on the weekend. They can talk about their netball team. They can talk about the parties they've been to. And the aim of the Peaceful Minds project is to set up a whole school approach to create communication right across the school.
How important is it to be having a conversation about this with young children, given that back in our day, we didn't discuss bullying. We just, it just happened and you moved on.
It's really significant, as you've mentioned, because some of the topics that we cover are really difficult to chat about. And then particularly developmentally, as children get a little older, things like embarrassment and shame creep in, and then there's kind of secrets that get established and information that's not shared. And so what we're looking to do through the Peaceful Minds project is to open up some of the communication so that there aren't those kind of barriers to talking about things that might be happening in your life. That in the COVID times at the moment, what we do know is that the amount of cyberbullying, for example, has increased, and that for young people that can be really threatening. But we also know that they don't easily talk about it. So it's a secret that's kind of kept to themselves. So we're aiming through the Peaceful Minds project to give students some skills, some practical skills to open up and chat a bit more openly, to develop some friendship skills, to look out for the other person in the school, so that if they can see that somebody is doing it tough at the time, that they've got the ability to have a chat with them about it.
Is there an element of this program particularly that looks out for special needs students?
That's a really good question, because one of the things that we are doing is exactly that. We're looking, and because of the kind of combination of young people in our classrooms these days, there are particular circumstances that young people bring to a classroom setting. They may be around physical things like hearing or sight, or they could be around kind of other things that are impacting them, like depression and anxiety. So we know now, for example, that there are issues associated with anxiety that have increased, particularly around the current circumstances with COVID at the moment for young people. And so, yes, there are what we're providing for the teachers in the pack is some particular information around inclusive education. So how can they talk and welcome and be welcoming of young people in the classroom who may be doing it tough, as I've said before.
What's your hope for this program? How do you think it will improve the lives of bullying victims?
What we would be hopeful generally, Jess, is that as a result of this outcome, because what we're going to be doing with the project is that at the first lesson, the students will complete some information, an online questionnaire that will tell us something a little bit about their friendship network, their experiences of school, their liking for school, something about their mental health and their well-being will be in that online questionnaire. And then 6 lessons later, once they've finished the module, then they'll complete almost the same questionnaire. So we'll have a kind of a pre-test and a post-test. So in that way, we can make some judgment about what changes, positive changes have occurred in the children's ability to solve conflicts successfully, to be a little more optimistic around their circumstances, how they've gone about making friends and helping other kids in the school setting. And then our dream, along with the Little Heroes Foundation and with the Breakthrough Mental Health Research Foundation, is that this will initially run in a number of pilot schools. We already have those pilot schools on board right across South Australia, and that we would be hopeful that we can then roll that out to a broader selection of schools. With the Little Heroes Foundation, we're also looking at the possibility of taking it into sporting clubs. So coaches and people that are involved with children in organisations like Scouts or Girl Guides, Sea Scouts, etc., that there is some value in teaching about friendship networks. There's some value in teaching about teamwork in that context. So one of our dreams further down the track is that we'll be able to roll this out more broadly beyond the school gate and into the community.
It's a historic partnership, isn't it? 2 charities coming together. An organisation like Little Heroes, which has such a great standing in the community. How powerful is it to have somebody like them on board?
It's really significant because as we've been working with schools in setting up this program, so we're going to be trialling this in term 1 of next year, and we talk a little about the involvement of the Little Heroes Foundation. The foundation has a significant footprint. That's what we've found in the community. People are aware of it. They know of the value of the work. They're appreciative of what is being done for young people through that foundation. And so it's a really exciting partnership, as you've mentioned. It's quite innovative in bringing charities, philanthropic organisations together for the benefit of young people in our community.
How important is it, do you think, as somebody that's worked in this area for so long, that organisations like Breakthrough continue to fund research into these issues?
A really important part of this, Jess, as you've mentioned, is that there are a large number of programs, mental health and wellbeing programs out there that schools can choose from. What is really important is that those programs have some evidence base, that you're actually not doing harm when you're delivering a program, and that there is some benefit both in terms of teacher time, in terms of the time that the children spend on these programs, that there are some positive benefits. So one of the really exciting aspects of this overall project is that we're going to collect the evidence that will show that this project has a positive effect, not only on the children, but it helps the teachers in terms of the development of skill sets around teaching social and emotional learning in the classroom, and that if we are able to take it out more broadly into the community, that it will have benefits in terms of parents and families.
You've done projects similar to this one at schools like the Brighton Secondary School. Tell us what you learnt from that experience. What did you see there?
So what we saw in working with Tony Mahar at Brighton Secondary School and his colleagues in the kind of year 8 and 9 area, where we were focused on the issue of school bullying and mental health and the relationship, is that when we did, again, collect some evidence pre and post and also follow up 2 or 3 months later, that there has been a significant reduction in the level of school bullying and an improvement in health and well-being in those schools. This is really quite exciting, as I've mentioned, because many programs don't go about collecting evidence like that. So you just have a general feeling that, it was an okay program. What we know through the programs that we have developed and used, and that the program that we're developing with Peaceful Minds, is that we're going to collect the data that will give schools and communities the confidence that this program actually makes a difference. And so that's what we've found at Brighton Secondary. We've been working there for over 6 years now. Brighton Secondary has one of the lowest levels of school bullying that we've come across in the Australian context. And that's due to teachers and school leadership at that school using this particular program and then integrating it into the curriculum. So one of the things that we would say that the new program, the Peaceful Minds Project, will do is that it's integrated with the Australian curriculum. It's not just an add-on. And that we know that when we do that, teachers are more able to implement it easily as part of their just everyday teaching.
It's incredibly exciting. Have you found that teachers, parents and students have been embracing of it?
Yeah, we've collected information and through interviews with the teachers. We've also done focus groups with students, and we've also conducted interviews with parents as part of that. We've found that they are really positive about it. So in 2018, Department for Education ran a trial in 26 schools of a program, our anti-bullying wellbeing program. And we found that what that did was produce a significant drop in the level of bullying in the schools that were involved. We collected that data from the students, so that's what they were saying. We also went and interviewed the teachers and the students and asked them about the program. What we did as well, and we will be doing that with the new program, the Peaceful Minds Project, is that we'll be going back to them at the end of the 6-week program, and we'll also be asking the students, what did you like about the program? What would you suggest we do to change it and improve it? And in the same way, that's what we'll do with some interviews with teachers. We'll collect some information from them about what worked, what they thought could be improved and changed, and how would they make the program better for a broader rollout.
How big a problem is bullying in Australian schools?
So if we put it in kind of sporting context, what we know through the large-scale surveys that we've done across Australia is that every day the Melbourne Cricket Ground holds about 100,000 or thereabouts on a good day, that we could fill the Melbourne Cricket Ground every day with the number of students who were being bullied. So if you look at that in the context of 100,000 students saying that they're being seriously bullied, and we do know that bullying is physically harmful, it's socially isolating, and it's psychologically damaging. It's associated with depression and anxiety. They've also done some economic costs that show that the cost of bullying, if it's not treated in the Australian context, runs into billions of dollars. These kind of costs come about through medication, through seeing the GP, through counselling, missed school, leaving school earlier. All of that has an economic cost. So programs like the Peace Pack that we've implemented and programs that we're developing like the Peaceful Minds Project, that has a significant economic benefit for the community.
Just finally, how confident are you that this program, with the backing of Breakthrough and the Little Heroes Foundation, will make a difference in the lives of young children?
Again, we're really excited just by the fact that we've got the Little Heroes Foundation and the Breakthrough Mental Health Foundation supporting this. This is quite a unique kind of partnership, bringing together the universities and the philanthropic organisations. We know from the evaluations that we've done with previous programs like the Peace Pack and like the one that has been run at Brighton Secondary and that we've used with the Education Department, that we can produce significant positive change. So we've got the same kind of model with the Peaceful Minds Project. We're quite confident that we'll be able to find that it significantly enhances young people's coping skills, that it improves their mental health and well-being. Associated with that, it will reduce the level of school bullying, and that we'll then be able to roll that out in a broader context. We've done something very similar in schools in a number of other countries overseas where they've translated this kind of project. So the latest one is in Italy, and we get exactly the same results in Italy, Greece, Malta and Japan when the programs have been translated into those languages.
Professor Slee, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Jess.
Tony Mahar is a school counsellor and teacher at Brighton Secondary. Tony implemented Philip's anti-bullying program at the school and found it resulted in the lowest recorded levels of bullying in the school's history. Tony, welcome to the podcast. What did you witness with this program?
Well, in the first instance, we witnessed, as a student wellbeing leader and counsellor, we witnessed that bullying was the number one intervention required of us. So most of the students who came to us were around a bullying issue. So in that light, we were searching for a program that had evidence behind it and was well researched to make a difference. And that's where we came across the Peace Pack. And then we initially ran it, and I guess with anything, you polish it as you go. It improves over time, and the results were quite outstanding. Even in the first year, we had some amazing success, and the success was around those students who initially thought they couldn't do anything around bullying, and just the fact that they had a bit of hope now. They could do something. There was something they could do, and that was to speak up about it. But also that they recognised that people would help with bullying. They weren't alone. There were others that would support them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, taking bullying from, we were just below the national average, I think, of around 21 or their percent of students get bullied every week. And we were kind of at the 17 level. And we were able to move that down to about 5% of students experiencing some bullying. Now, there's still too much, but it's a significant improvement on what was there before, and it actually shifted our bullying data in terms of our counselling interventions from number 1 to number 5 on our list, and anxiety took its place.
Wow.
Interestingly. So, yeah. What
was the role of teachers and counsellors when you rolled out the program?
Well, the first thing is to walk through the program with them, and I always try and respect the integrity of my colleagues. They are teachers; they know how to teach. So it's just walking through some of the finer details of key elements. So just the little thing around hope that often our default mechanism in our thinking is always to go, well, it's hopeless and there's nothing we can do about it, and to change that and be, there is something can always be done about it, and certainly talking about it is critical. So emphasising those key points to staff and making sure that they're conveyed to students is the key. It was the key part, but also it's informing staff so that they're now responding differently to this. There is some data around that basically said that in 100% of bullying cases, only 50% were ever adequately dealt with, by teachers in a sense, or responded effectively to. So changing the way they responded was part of the package of stuff we included, and we sort of added to the package. And so there's a lot of learning for teachers. In a sense, we go to teachers' college and we learn to teach science or maths. We don't necessarily learn to teach about bullying. That's not one of the topics. And so there's a lot of learning in this for staff. But I think once they've been through the program, they build their confidence and now they understand it better, and they also respond better to bullying incidents within the school. So, yeah, there was definite improvement.
What messages were you giving to the students, and how did that lead to such success?
Well, the research says this. It says that the two most tried methods of dealing with bullying is to not tell anybody and hope it'll go away. And the two least effective methods are to not tell anybody and hope it will go away. So we use that information, and that pretty quickly sinks in that message to students that, hold it, if I don't do something about this, then it will probably continue. So encouraging students to speak out about it, and that it was okay to speak out about it, because that's easy for some people, but for students most at risk, it's actually a big courageous step to talk about something like that. They just kind of feel that I deserve this because I'm I'm from a different group of people in a sense, or I might be questioning my agenda or things like that. So those people are particularly vulnerable and, in a sense, feel they have to put up with it. So talking to highly at-risk groups and empowering them to talk about this is really important.
And talking to those perhaps less at risk about standing up for their mates, is that part of it as well?
Oh, certainly. And one of my jobs was to work with the student leadership, and they did a fantastic program. They thought if someone was being bullied within the leadership group, they have the Brighten Up group, which is school, Brighten Up, Brighton Secondary, basically. It's a play on words. And so they decided school wasn't a very bright place for people if they were being bullied. So they discussed this at length and they came up with a mystery campaign. What are we going to do about this? So they decided they would paint this superhero on the back oval and then not tell anybody about it. So this huge 8-foot in lawn paint character was painted on the back oval with a cape, and underneath it was "Who will be the hero?" And that just ran for a couple of weeks. And of course, students saying, "Did you see the back oval? Who painted the back oval?" And the principal is going to go berserk when she finds out about this, and all this sort of stuff. And then 2 weeks later, they went to every class and gave out a business-sized card. A bank size card, and on the front it said helpful bystanders and hurtful bystanders, and made a clear distinction between those two behaviours. And that had a significant effect. And along with the program we're talking about, if students are taking leadership of stuff, they're coming to students from a different angle that we are as teachers and as the system, if you like. So
I love that hero in the playground image. And on that, how fabulous do you think it is to have the Little Heroes Foundation on board with this new program in partnership with Breakthrough?
It's fantastic, and it's just that our system, unfortunately, isn't designed to deal with this other education. We're about teaching science and maths and things like that. So these programs don't run and don't get as much traction without that kind of support. So it's fantastic that it's happening.
It's a great synergy, isn't it, the Little Heroes Foundation, to have them with the image, as you mentioned, with somebody in a cape, because it's just that kind of, you can be a hero within your school.
And that's true. And that was what the students came up with, the fact that we all need to stand up and we can't be a hurtful bystander, but we also can't be a passive bystander. We need to take action as collectively to make a difference. And often those people who are being targeted don't feel empowered. So, just one person sticking up for them in a sense, or saying, hey, this is not okay, makes a significant difference for that person.
Tony, you must be incredibly proud of the progress and success you've seen at Brighton Secondary.
It's been fantastic, and Philip talked about some of the evidence around this program. Well, I can quote that in 2015, there was no physical bullying recorded in our WEC data. So the department records wellbeing and engagement collection data, which has bullying as one of its focus. 2015 indicated no physical bullying, which is a fantastic result. But there's a whole lot of other data that's starting to show up. So obviously, if I'm not being bullied, attendance has improved. So that's a really positive thing. Engagement in schools improved, and achievement with all of those things. So I think there's some major spin-offs here that people are not recognising once we start dealing with mental health and mental health issues.
Of course, if kids are feeling comfortable and relaxed in the school environment, we're going to get the best out of them, aren't we?
For sure. And some of what Philip is talking about is I'm calling the other curriculum. It's the curriculum that we haven't always addressed, and a lot of the evidence is saying that staff, often time poor, don't have they understand we need to deal with mental health and they need support around this, but they don't exactly know what to do with it. So having a program that identifies here's what we do, and while they're teaching it, they're in a sense helping their own mental health, is fantastic. It really will make a difference.
Tony, thanks for joining us on the Breakthrough podcast.
Thank you.
Chris Mcdermott is the founder and chief executive of Little Heroes Foundation, a leading South Australian charity supporting children for more than 25 years. Chris is perhaps best known as the inaugural captain of the Adelaide Crows, After beginning his footy career with the Glenelg Tigers in the Sandful, and then an extensive media career across radio, television and print, Chris is working with Breakthrough in a charity first to roll out the Big Talks for Little People campaign. Chris Mcdermott is the founder of the Little Heroes Foundation. Chris, this partnership with Breakthrough is a charity first. Why did you get on board?
Well, we've been around for 25 years now and have looked for like-minded partners to do different things with. We've largely been involved with the Women's and Children's Hospital and kids with cancer. But I guess over the years, we've tried to find other charities that do different things to work with. And we've been able to do it for short periods of time. Ran into Breakthrough Mental Health Research Foundation purely by chance and found an organisation and a group of people with really like-minded thinking to what Little Heroes had and that I had. So we developed what they called a friendship, and it was more of a friendship than a partnership, and that friendship developed into a partnership. It's taken 12 months, but we got to a really happy place with two organisations that think a lot the same about the health of young Australians, young South Australians, and want to do something about it. So I think that's the basis of our relationship and something that gives it a real chance of lasting a long time.
What would you like to see coming out of this project? It's obviously really focused on reducing bullying in the schoolyard and educating kids. What would you like to see come out of it?
Well, I think the professor's spoken about it, so has Tony, about success. I think the great thing with this program is it's measurable. A lot of the stuff that we've, I guess, been involved in over the years is been largely equipment, and it's measurable. You can you can tell its success rate. And I think it's really important to know that you're doing something and contributing your funds to a project that works and has success. And we're really confident this one's got success. It's, they're going to track it, which I think is really important. There's some incredible intel behind it and a lot of passion from not just the delivery, but from the fundraising side of it as well. So ticks a lot of boxes for mine, and we're really looking forward to it, not just being South Australian, Northern Territory as well. And its ability to spread right throughout the country and maybe overseas as well.
It's a good fit, isn't it? You're thinking about the hero image, little person in a cape in the schoolyard.
Heroes in the Playground works really well, and we've heard about it at Brighton High School, ironically a school I used to go to.
How many years ago?
Well, it's more than 5 and it's less than 50 and it's closer to 40. But, to be involved in a school like that and to hear the terminology and the way it's going to get rolled out and the way the kids at Brighton have embraced it during its pilot time gives you a lot of hope and a lot of faith, and it's always been a good school, and there's no reason why every school in South Australia and Northern Territory can't be exactly the same. So it's really exciting, and I guess we know when we've got to learn, especially in this COVID time, the tough 2020, how important mental health is for all people in Australia and all people all over the world. And early intervention is so important.
Yeah. You've got teenage twins of your own, so you
We have teenage children, Jess, don't we?
I don't quite have teenagers yet, but I do have twins. But you know personally firsthand how important it is for kids' mental health to be on track.
Absolutely. And it's something that I guess as a parent we deal with every day. They come home and they've either had a good day at school or not such a good day at school, and it can be, through an interaction with teachers or with other students or with siblings, and it's you forget how tough a time it is at school for all kids, and the older they get, once they get into their teen years and they're developing physically as well as emotionally and mentally, there are so many balls they're juggling as kids, and you get to our age and you think, it was pretty easy, but at the time it's not. It's really tough. It's one of the toughest things you'll do. So I think we've got to have an understanding of that and try and help them the best way we can. And, roll the clock back 40 years, there wasn't that sort of assistance, and a lot of us probably wish there was.
Yeah, absolutely. To be paired up with Breakthrough, who obviously believe that research is the key to solving some of these issues in the long term, is it a pretty proud moment for your organisation?
Oh, I think it'd be the proudest, over the 25 years, and I mean that in absolute honesty. We are blessed, and I am blessed to have run into the people at Breakthrough, from John right through to his staff, to the other people he deals with, and he's been able to introduce us to. It's a whole new world. when you work as a charity, we're all very protective of our own backyard because it is such a, not a dog eat dog world, but you're all looking for some money and some funds because you want to do what you believe in. So you can understand the competitive nature. And I feel blessed that Little Heroes has found a friend and a partner and a like-minded organisation in Breakthrough that, a bit like us at this stage of our livelihood, want to find like-minded people, want to do something different. And one of the words that Breakthrough used really resonated with me when they spoke about mental health, and it was on their website. It said it is the biggest issue facing our children at the moment, the biggest health crisis facing our children. They said that about cancer 25 years ago, and it's what attracted me to that terminology and that illness and for kids. So it just resonates. I love the people. It makes you want to work with them. It makes you want to do good things. It wants to make you raise money to enable them to do the things they want to do. So I'm really excited, not just about 2021, but about the years that follow.
Thank you so much for your time. You've made such a difference in so many young children's lives over the years, and we're excited that you're joining Breakthrough in this brilliant project.
We're just as excited. We just want it to get happening.
Fantastic. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Jess.
Thank you for joining us as we share these extremely personal and important stories. If you would like to donate to Breakthrough Mental Health Research Foundation, please visit breakthroughfoundation.org.au. If anything spoken about in today's episode has been distressing for you, please contact Mental Health Emergency on 131465. We will have other resources in our show notes. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jess Adamson, and let's all tackle mental health head on.